A lot of pictures in that little edit that I made has a lot to do with what the video is going to be about today. And what made me want to make this video first was I found my old DS from like 2000 something. I don't know. I was in kindergarten. It was a very long time ago. And then I just looked through the camera roll and just took a look around to see what I did when I was younger. And I was just hit with a huge wave of nostalgia, which is exactly what this video is going to be about. Now, the edit that I made at the beginning of this video, you could see in so many other places. And something that I want to talk about is just why the internet is so obsessed with nostalgia. Now, if we were to take the shorter approach to this, if you go on Instagram or TikTok, you could just easily find so many pages that push all these nostalgia or liminal type videos. And if we were to look in those videos, like we could see so many things, like just playing outside. You don't do that a lot anymore. A, we've just gotten older. And two, it's like places outside aren't really designed anymore for kids to be outside. Like if you see some of these pages, it's just talks about how there's just streets everywhere and how there's just not a push to have people outside anymore. And I feel like that's really been popularized with social media, YouTube Shorts, TikTok, and all that stuff. Like, if you could remember the last time you've seen people playing outside or just doing whatever, drop that below. I want to hear, because I haven't seen that in a while, even where I live. But that's just one small part of it. And when I was younger, I remember I would be outside every day. I used to live in New York when I was younger, and I lived in a town where the apartments were just so cramped together. And every day I'd go out. Even the neighbors that I didn't like, I would play with. And it was just, it meant a lot to me personally because I met really good friends. And even though I don't talk to those people anymore, again, that adds to the nostalgic factor. I want to know how those people are doing, but I haven't seen them in so long. And I could only imagine how a bunch of other people feel. But yeah, just people aren't going outside anymore. And I feel like that's one thing because it's shown on these pages as like a godsend or something. Like people don't do it anymore. Like you did it before. Like that's special. And while that is special, since we're adults now and we haven't been able to experience that in a while, that says something. But also another thing that I want to talk about is how our past has just been documented since we were born. As I said in the beginning, we are the first generation to fully grow up with technology, and that means pictures, videos, your mom's old Facebook pages. It basically has you from the minute you were born to where you are now. And when you mix all of that up together, you could see everything that you did in your life, and you remember all the good things and even the bad things. But it's just people are obsessed with it because that's what they know. They see an old moment in their childhood and they want to go back. And while there's a lot of things that I want to go back to, I can't. There's nothing I could do about it. Unless some time machine gets invented, we are stuck in the present. And I feel like that's what adds so much nostalgic factor to people now. And one thing that I really see it in is video games. Minecraft is the biggest video game in the world, releasing in around 2009, if I remember. And that is the age that many people started to get onto the internet and started to familiarize themselves with video games, online things, and all that. And when Minecraft first released, it was nothing. It was called Cave Game, and all it had was dirt, cobblestone, and that's it. And now if you look at it now, like there's so many blocks, just so many things that you could do. And it's just, if you were to tell me in 2009 that that's how the game would be, I wouldn't believe it because that's just so much change. And what a lot of people like, I see a lot of YouTubers that I do the same style as a lot of people. I'm not going to bitch and moan about that, but a lot of people that talk about nostalgic things and all that stuff, they're playing an older version of Minecraft. The version I'm playing is a newer version of Minecraft, but fuck it, we ball. But really, it's people are so nostalgic for these things because it's what they grew up with. That's what they knew when they were a child. But Now that doesn't exist anymore, but you could still play it if you were to download the older versions, but you can't have that same emotion from when you played it the first time. And I know I yapped about video games a lot just now, but there's something else that I want to bring up too. I know I talked a lot about how the media makes people nostalgic, but then you don't think about the physical things that you had. Me, when I was growing up, I was big on toys. Don't even get me started. And one store, very popular store from the like late 2010s, Toys R Us. That place was the goat for toy shopping. I remember being like 6 or 8, and I would just run in there and I'd grab all the new WWE toys and stuff I want. But that was when I lived in Jersey now. When I lived in New York, don't even get me started on how good that Toys R Us was. It was in the middle of a mall and it had its own floor dedicated to it. And I remember every time we would go here, I would run straight to the video game section where it had this big aisle of Skylanders. Because if I remember, Giants just came out. And it was, as you could see in the picture in the beginning, in that nice little edit I made, I love Skylanders. And I just thought that was really significant to put in there because, in terms of gaming, Skylanders was just so special. And now, if you were to try and get those figures now, it would be really difficult for you to get them since they are rare collectible figures for some of them. But then also, you have just the old DS games and toys and everything. And this was all before the whole corporate slop era, which is another reason why I think nostalgia is so heavy. But I remember the first series of Minecraft toys, old DS games I would buy. And I'd say one of my favorite series of toys from when I was younger was the old Phineas and Ferb stuff. Now, if you were to go on eBay and check and to find these same exact toys now, they're worth hundreds of dollars for these unopened boxes. And while that's cool. I got to play with them. I was a kid. I enjoyed playing with those things because I was really big on all this stuff, and these toys had details to them. It was fun. Really, that's all I have to say. And that's just the toys I played with. One thing, one of the big things that I would love to just yap about were old video games. Now, the early 2010s was a time when video games really started to blow up. And then you had these major studios, AAA games coming out. But then you also had consoles like the DS, the Xbox 360, the PS3. And one of my favorite things to do when I would go to Toys R Us was I'd buy a new video game. It doesn't matter what it was, but I'm getting off track a lot right now. And another thing that I want to yap about that just popped up into my head, old stores that we would go to, GameStop, Radio Shack, Toys R Us. And while GameStop is still around, it's just not as good as it was before. You'd go in for a trade-in. They'll give you $3 on a $1,000 Pokemon card. Don't even get me started on that. But it's just the reason why I believe we feel so nostalgic is that things before felt like they had a soul to it, like it's emotion for it. But now, as we get towards the later 2020s, there's just been such a big push in the corporate world for profits and all this stuff. What I feel like that has done is that's taken the soul out of so many things. Toys R Us closed down, right? There's only like 2 stores remaining left in Toys R Us, and one was a new location in the American Dream Mall. And then GameStop. The one in my town closed down with zero notice. One day I went there to go buy a video game. I go back the next day to see what else is up in there. Completely like ripped out, and they just replaced it with some $30 burger joint. Yeah. But now I look back at GameStop and I just miss the things that I had there. And I feel like I took it for granted because I loved it. It had what I wanted. And yeah, like I feel like I covered all the points I wanted to say. This was very messy for me. So I'm sorry I haven't made a video in a very long time. But if there's anything like you miss or feel nostalgic about, just like yap about it in the comments and I'll reply. But that's really all I have to say. Bye.